literally on
Sorry,
her top.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
So I get to the checkout counter and this woman, I'm already leaving, got my bags. I'm standing with the checkout person and the bag person. And this woman comes up and really disheveled and two teeth in her upper jaw. And she says, "Those flowers are beautiful." She looked at one of the bouquets, or two different colors. And I said, they are. And then I went to pull one out and said, "Do you want one?" And then like she just smiled from ear to ear. And then she seriously just had like two teeth in her top of her mouth. And I said, "Here, have them all." And then she said, "My mom's next door at St. Mary's Hospital, and we don't know how much longer she's going to last. And this is just such a lovely gift for me to take to with my mom." And then I just looked at her and I was looking at her and I just went over and wrapped my arms around her when she told me her mom was dying. And we like shared that moment. And it's not like thinking of 4 ways to practice gratitude.
Mhm.
It's just having an attitude of an open heart, living at those high levels of positive energy. I'm swimming with oxytocin and adrenaline and dopamine and endorphins and anandamide all the time. And I notice when I start talking about, I need something, I am lonesome. I notice and I know that's ego. And I know those those neurotransmitters are adrenaline, cortisol, and it's the lowest survival self. So I like the idea of not really, I never was really good at following orders. I like to live my life the way I want to live it. And that gets me into trouble sometimes for sure. But I like the idea of just giving people some information and then they take it off and do with it as they wish spontaneously. So I'm sure going and hugging someone in the supermarket and giving them the flowers and all that beautiful this morning isn't necessarily one of the 4 ways to do it, but it sure made me feel good and her as well.
That's excellent. So you just want to talk about
Just whatever you
connection?
yeah, connection,
Yeah.
loneliness. I
Mhm.
liked how you had it, lonesomeness and then gratitude and then connection. Because
Mhm.
actually when you think about it, Ken, the level 1 and 2 is lonesomeness. And then level is compassion. Le- Um, and level 5, peace and calm, and level 6, connection. And level 7 is connection with the big connection, the connection in the sky kind of thing. So those questions are really, how do I get out of the level 1 and 2 and get myself up? Give myself some dopamine and give myself some um, uh, serotonin. And even now I'm hugging myself and give myself some oxytocin. And then bang, I'm not lonesome anymore. In fact, I'm so grateful. I'm actually peaceful and calm, and I have so much positive energy now. I can give my roses away and hug someone. Yeah, so that's sort of what I had in my emails too.
Right. So when you so one of the concepts that I think is difficult for people to understand is a concept of emotional loneliness. Did you want to expand on the difference between emotional loneliness? But I mean, because I know lots of people, I have tons of people I converse with at work. I have lots of family. I have all these societies, but according to
Yeah,
Michael, that's not what connection's about.
yeah. So loneliness, what is loneliness? I think loneliness is when we are really at our survival self, our smallest self,
Hmm.
and it makes we're sad and we're missing something and we're afraid of something. We're just such not in a good place, just stuck. And with Bruce Schneider, who we talked about before, with his Institute of Positive, well, I think it's positive energy coaching, but it's positive professional excellence in coaching, but it is for high performance. That would be his level 1 and 2, where it's all ego. We're so needy. We're needy humans. And no wonder if you're a needy human, you're lonesome and sad. and you're in this very survival self mode. And the neurotransmitters are adrenaline and cortisol. You're really just trying to protect yourself. You're so layered, you don't have anything to give away, and you're lonesome.
Mhm.
So, how do we get out of that? How do we find our way back to from our need, sad, worried, afraid, fearful self?
Okay. So, um, so what is my risk for loneliness in my profession, and how do I address that?
Well, we know the data's out there. More than
Mhm.
60% of us in medicine are burnt out.
Mhm.
And that's the
Yeah.
same thing. That is, I'm emotionally exhausted. I don't care about my patients, callous towards my patients, and I don't think what I'm doing is valuable anymore. And no
Mhm.
wonder business is a medicine now. The healthcare system is neither healthy, caring, or a decent system. We took a Hippocratic oath that said we would look at, quote unquote, look after princes and slaves the same way.
Mhm.
And we took that oath, and the oath also says if we don't abide by that, then our own health should be hurt and we should die. So it's almost like we're in a lost situation now where we've taken what this is, what we've taken a pledge to do something and we're
Mhm.
violating that moral pledge. So of course we have this moral distress and moral injury now. So we've been through COVID. And then we look at screens and are clicking and clacking in order to maximally get money from the patient, not looking after the patient. Of course, we're lonesome. The question
Mhm.
is, what do we do about it? And that comes back to what you and I were talking about. What's the solution? And boy, a solution is give ourselves the compassion we would want to give our patients, and then eating from that, really this gratitude that is in Mike Mattis's super article in the Annals of Thoracic Surgery from
Mhm.
2020, beginning of COVID. What a nice ideal time to have that come out. But really practice gratitude and practice it all the time. Should we talk
Interesting.
about should we talk about gratitude then?
Mhm.
How it runs? So, we are set up every day we go to work. Just doing our job is helping someone. And our basically are constantly, because even if we are burnt out, we're still able to do our job. And that job helps patients, makes them feel better. And they look at us and they are grateful. And we miss the opportunity to look back at them and see them. And when we look at them, I mean, there's data to say if you look at someone, make eye contact for 3 seconds, you're getting that dose of dopamine. You're moving up to get a dose of oxytocin. You're so close to getting way, way, way far away that adrenaline, cortisol, and survival small, scared self. So all we have to do is just pay attention to our patients when they say, I used to do this. They say, oh, thank you, Dr. Mackinnon, blah, 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 blah. And I'd say, oh, well, it's just my job. You're welcome. Carry on. I don't do that anymore. When a patient thanks me,
Mhm.
and it's usually when I'm, ready to discharge them, like walking out of the room, I turn around and I sit down. I get eye level to eye level with them. And I take that Tara Brach sacred pause. And I
So
just
so
look at
pause for a second and describe to, because I've noticed that as I gotten older, I do the same thing. So
them.
describe how the difference of how that makes you feel and how that feeling carries through to the next patient and the next patient and the next patient. How has that changed you?
Saved my life.
Mhm.
And also, I work in an academic institution, so I have residents and medical students.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, fellows, then the nurses, the whole environment, the whole feeling of the clinic changes.
Mhm.
And and it really, oh boy, like medical students, it's so nice to have them because They're still really
Yeah.
so excited and positive, and
Mhm.
yet they have noticed the difference too. Apparently 40% of medical students now aren't planning on practicing medicine. Holy
Mm.
mackerel, we're going to be in trouble. They're going to go and do research, or they're going to go do education, or I was just talking to someone earlier today who's got this podcast, and he's going to get through medicine and then really just what did he say? He's going to um, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but really push out healthcare for medicine, but through the podcasting, scale it
Interesting.
up. That's what yeah, but
Mm.
not really practice medicine necessarily, but scale it up. Well, we do need that, but we don't need 40% of people not giving patients. Yeah, but if you take the time to sit and then pause and then thank the patient for thanking you and
Mhm.
tell them how meaningful that is, because it is meaningful. And again, from a sinus point of view, you're turning on that oxytocin, that love huddle, cuddle hormone that is joy and happiness. So now you basically shut down your adrenaline and cortisol. I got to get to the patient. I'm so overworked. I hate having now I've got to do all this charting. You turn off that survival self, and you are, well, it's at the level 6 of Bruce Schneider. It is wisdom, it's innovation, it's your wise self, it's oxytocin, it's happiness and joy. It's even a level 5, which is peace and calm and serotonin. And you go up there through this compassion of the level 4 dopamine to the level 5 peace and calm. No failure, just ideas everywhere, opportunities everywhere. And then you land at level 6. There's only 7 levels. And level 6 is happiness and joy. And that's seeing ourselves in our patients. That's breaking down all these divisions that we have now around the world, in our country, the hierarchy that we live by, which is helpful, but also be hurtful. I just this chair, but it's not a distinguished chair. And my husband has a distinguished chair, and I don't have a distinguished chair. I mean, it just never stops, right? So, and you're like a fourth year resident, but that's not as good as being a fellow or a fifth year resident. But that connection with other people, and then the the other trick is if you start having gratitude for things that, if I could use the word God made, that was creation. Like I'm looking out of my kitchen window and I'm seeing these trees. Oh, seeing the naked trees without the leaves, and I'm seeing this other that's just getting some buds out. And then you have this wonder of, and the wind going through it, where'd that wind come from? And just looking at nature, then you're really getting a connection with something really big. And then it just feels so beautiful. It's the neurotransmitter for that, the highest level of connection. And both the 6 and 7 are being. We're no longer that needy human. We're a human being. They say, oh, let's have some wellness days or well-being.
Yeah.
So when you're at those level of connecting with other humans, you're being, and you have the oxytocin. And when you start to really connect with something really big, you're getting anandamide. Ananda is the Sanskrit word for bliss. And you are connecting through to big knowledge. That is where there is the highest level of performance. So get a load of that. What kind of performance is there when we're in our like survival brain, fight, flight, freeze? No performance. Just attach to outcome, get the RVUs, don't trouble, with Epic, get all that done. But there's no performance. This tyranny of metrics. Um, I'm blocking on who the author was of that, but if you look at the book Tyranny of Metrics, it's all about, and we need it, but we also need the other side of the equation. And that's the happiness and joy. And that's the bliss. And that's where there's highest performance. And that connects exactly what you said. Let's talk about lonesome. Let's talk about gratitude, and let's talk about connection. And, when you first sent those three topics along, I thought, well, how does this all fit? That's how it fits. That's how it fits. And that's when we can just get our joy back. We're attached to mission forward, purpose driven. We're remembering that Hippocratic oath. We don't have to hope for poor health and death, because we've remembered why we went into this and how important it is. And no matter what, yes, we're going to get hammered with this moral injury and moral distress and all of this business of medicine now, but we can find a way back to the right sweet spot by just connecting with, looking at them, thanking them, and then even taking some time to get outside and connect with something so big that we're tapping into that magnificent energy that is just always there. And at those two levels, we're human beings. We're seeing our humanity in our patients. We're seeing this incredible energy and creation in everything from, worms in the dirt right up to the hawk in the sky.
Interesting. Well, thank you. I appreciate all that. Anything else you want to add before we hang up?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. I
Like
appreciate
it.
it. I will
Love it.
definitely
Love it. Love it.
wrap
Um,
all this into the presentation. Let me
I
stop.
like your drawing there too. That's really lovely. And the Buddha says it's the middle path you take.
Hmm.
That this idea of the meditation and mindfulness is that middle path that leads us to
Exactly.
everything else. Thank
Yeah.
you for all you do, Ken. You're just an amazing person. I'm so happy that our paths crossed that evening. That one evening at the wasn't it was the cocktail party for the U of T or WashU? Wasn't that it?
No, it
We
was
met,
after your um, presentation
but it
at the
wasn't at
college.
the WashU cocktail party. No.
No,
Okay.
I
All right.
wish.
Well,
I
whatever.
wasn't invited to that.
I'm really glad we met. So
Maybe
take,
next year.
yeah. Well, I don't know that it's worth that, but it was definitely worth it. Okay, carry on. Look forward to our next connection.
All righty. Thank you so
All right,
much.
look forward with gratitude to our next connection.